Welcome to your fantasy football update on CBS Local Sports. Joy Taylor, Jamie Eisenberg, Dave Richard. Let's get right to it, guys, with the quarterbacks. Jamie, you like Matt Ryan this week as your start for quarterback.
Yeah, Matt Ryan's our start of the week on CBSSports.com. I think you'll see him come off of his bye week and play well because that's what he does. In his last 3 games coming off a bye, at least 27 fantasy points. He's facing a team that he's already beat up once. Granted, it was at home. His offensive line was a lot better at that point. But in week 3, over 250 passing yards, 3 touchdowns against this Bucs defense, and I haven't seen Tampa Bay improve that much that I think they're going to slow down Matt Ryan. So he's been tough to trust, but you know what? Buy in this week, and he will reward you.
And Dave, you say no-go on Eli in Seattle this week.
Eli's been pretty good statistically, but you go against the Seahawks defense, and I think it's a tough sell for him. Seattle's getting stronger in the secondary. They're getting a safety back. They're getting 2 cornerbacks back. It's going to make it hard on Eli Manning to play well at that place. 6 of the last 7 quarterbacks to take on the Seahawks have put up multiple touchdowns, but only 4 of them have put up 20 or more fantasy points. I say Eli doesn't get there this week. I would set him.
But at running back, you like Denard Robinson in London this week.
Love the matchup against Dallas. They're missing a bunch of guys up front for them. And look at what Denard Robinson's done the last 3 weeks, at least 100 total yards in each of the last 3 games. Toby Gerhart might steal a touchdown along the way, but I still feel like the numbers that we get from Denard Robinson are going to be very solid. He is a great start this week. #1 fantasy quarterback.
Not a great start this week is another Giant, Andre Williams in Seattle, Jamie.
Yeah, you're counting on him scoring. I mean, last week he had 12 carries for 22 yards. He had the 1 catch. He's facing a tough defense in Seattle, and I don't know if you're going to get the DeMarco Murray game that the Cowboys got from in the game in Seattle. He's not that caliber of player right now. And Rashad Jennings is not going to play, which is obviously a good thing for Andre Williams. But don't be surprised, and I hate to say this, but don't be surprised if Peyton Hillis is the best Giants running back this week because of what he'll be able to do catching the ball out of the backfield, especially when they're chasing points. So Andre Williams, an easy guy to get away from this week, and we hope to see Rashad Jennings come back in Week 11, and maybe this backfield gets back to being what it was early in the year.
At wide receiver, an offense that's rolling is the Steelers, and you like Martavis Bryant this week.
It's hard not to like him. 5 touchdowns in 3 games, and he's playing great. He's playing, oh yeah, the Jets, and they stink. So I think you're going to see Martavis Bryant come out, not get you 2 touchdowns like he's had each of the last 2 games, but 1 is certainly possible. And the way that he's playing, the way Roethlisberger's playing, if they're going to chase another 6-touchdown type game, it's not going to get there without Bryant playing a significant role. So a must-start #2 receiver, definitely a guy you want to get in 3 receiver leagues, but I think he's a great option in any format because of the way he's playing.
And Dave says, sit Marcus Colston.
You know, if you look at the Colston's year so far, he's got 1 game with double digits in fantasy points. That's what you want from a wide receiver, 10 or more fantasy points. He's only done it 1 time. It came in a game when he had 10 targets. He doesn't get that much work anymore. This is going to be an offense that found its run game over the past couple of weeks. The Saints are going to lean on Mark Ingram, and they'll take shots with guys like Brandon Cooks and Kenny Stills, not so much Marcus Colston, so I would get away from him this week.
But at tight end, you do like Martellus Bennett in Green Bay.
Normally, I don't like Martellus Bennett this time of year. He seems to be an early season guy, but I think the matchup against Green Bay lends itself to big numbers for him, and he had big numbers against him back in week 4, over 130 receiving yards for Martellus Bennett. I love him this week. He's a great start in fantasy.
Another sit for New Orleans, well, at New Orleans, I should say, it's Vernon Davis, Jamie.
Yeah, he's just been terrible. You know, it's hard to figure out what's going on with him. Maybe the back injury that cost him a couple games is lingering. Maybe it's just the offense is, in general, being in the overall funk that they've been in for the last month. So I think you see Vernon Davis and the way that he's playing in the matchup that he's facing against a very good and up-and-coming New Orleans team defensively, especially in their own building. So Davis hasn't scored a touchdown since week 1. He's just really been struggling. Maybe it's the fact that they have all these other mouths to feed now with Anquan Bolden staying, Michael Crabtree back from the injury from a year ago, Steve Johnson in the mix. It's just not been a good situation for Vernon Davis. So I think there are better tight ends out there. I'd start Clay Harbor over him. I would actually start Scott Chandler of the Buffalo Bills over Vernon Davis.
I would too.
I know where we stand right now with Vernon.
Yeah.
Good luck this weekend, guys. Thanks for joining us. That's your fantasy football update on CBS Local Sports.